Today I'm going to be testing out the mixed media inks from Altenew, and I'm going to do quite a few tests to see what we can do with them. Hey crafty people, it's Tash here. Welcome back to my channel. If you like the video, then please do give me a thumbs up, and if you aren't already subscribed, I'd love it if you'd please consider it. So this is part of my Altenew Educators YouTube series. I've been taking a break from that because I've been really busy, but I am back. So these are the Glacier Caves inks. I've got them in the normal crisp dye inks, so I wanted to see what these mixed media ones do. They are a totally different formulation, and you can do lots with them that you wouldn't be able to do with normal dye inks. So I'm just tapping the ink pads on my glass mat, spritzing them with a little bit of water, and then just dipping my card panel in. This is some distress watercolour cardstock. So the important thing to do when you are doing this kind of technique is to make sure that you are drying it in between each time you add more ink. So I started with the lightest inks. I gotta say, the first ink, couldn't really see anything. It's that light. At least it is on this technique. So I've sort of worked my way through, and I'm just adding bits more and more where I think they're needed. And then once I'm happy with that and it's totally dry, I grabbed out the fine tool, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, stencil. And this is just an off-brand beauty blender for makeup, but I just wanted to see how this worked, and I really like how this applied the inks, so I'll definitely use this again. So I'm just applying some of those inks just randomly across the panel wherever I think it might look nice. So I wanted to test to see whether you would see this lighter ink on the top of the darker ink, which is what you would sort of expect from Distress Oxide and pigment inks like that, which I think these are most comparable to that style of ink, but they are different. And then I added some of the number 3 colour, and yeah, I just randomly dotted it about the panel wherever I felt like. And this is actually, I set as background aside for use another day, and I use that, and I'll link to the blog post the card that ended up on. So one of the awesome things about these inks is that they will work on so many different surfaces. So this is just a canvas bag that I purchased. I've got a sheet of cardboard inside it just to hold it flat, and then I've taped the same fine tool stencil onto it, and I'm just using that same beauty blender to add some ink. You don't want to sort of rub it, because I think that's more likely to disturb the stencil. I found that a pouncing kind of method worked the best. So I'm just sort of working out how much of each ink I want roughly. Obviously there's 4 inks, so roughly I want each one to cover around a quarter, but I want them to blend in together seamlessly, so I didn't want any, it didn't matter if it wasn't exactly a quarter. So once I've put the second on, I then go back and add a little bit more of the first just to blend that out. And then moving on to ink number 3. As you can see, this is significantly darker than where you start off at the top. So the darker ones, you are going to see more of a drastic difference quicker than you would with the lighter ones. And then I go back down and do the sapphire. Where the 2 inks blend, it's not quite as important that it's perfect. You're not going to see if it's not quite fully blended because of using the stencil, but I did want to make sure that I went over the edges of each colour so that I had got plenty of colour on. And you see there I just went over and added a little bit more of the Persian blue. So here is the reveal. I peeled the tape off, pull the stencil back, and look at that. it's awesome. You just need to heat set that or iron it and it will be permanent. So here I stamped out this background panel. I stamped the background with the crisp dye inks of the same family, and then I've added the hello, and I'm going to put Dad over the top of it, because I wanted to see just how opaque these inks are. So normally if you were to stamp a dye ink over that black hello, you're not going to see anything where it crosses over the black, because a dye ink soaks into the paper, whereas a pigment ink sort of sits on top of it. So I wanted to see how, like I said, how opaque they are. So I did have to stamp it 4 times, I think, but this is a fairly light ink. That's after 2 stampings. You can see that you can actually see some of the ink on top of the black. It's not completely opaque, but I do think maybe if I'd used a darker colour you would see it more, but this was just really a test. But as you can see there, at 3 stamps you can really see where that's sitting over the top, which I think is so cool, because you wouldn't be able to do that with any other type of ink. So let me know, have you tried this mixed media ink? I think there's 4 ink families of it out now. Yeah, they're just a real lot of fun, and they're especially fun if you do more mixed media, because you can do it onto wood and all sorts. I hope that you liked the video. Please give me a thumbs up if you did. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for sticking around. If you aren't already subscribed, then please do consider it. And other than that, I hope that you have a lovely, happy, safe and wonderful week. Stay crafty. Bye.